This for my north side,
Kiara,
south side,
Kiara,
east end,
Kiara,
west end,
Kiara,
for my H-town,
Kiara,
Seafield,
Kiara,
804,
Kiara,
we them real,
Kiara.
yeah. 2 up, 2 down, rich town. 2 up, 2 down, rich town. 2 up, 2 down, rich town.
It's the Kiara Lee Show.
Rich town.
Welcome to another episode of the Kiara Lee Show. I'm Kiara Lee, and today we're going to be talking about colorism. Colorism is a form of discrimination, but when we normally think of discrimination, what do we think of? Racism, sexism, things like that. But what about colorism? Have you even heard of that word before? Do you know the definition? Even if you've never heard of the word or if you don't know the definition, odds are that you know someone that's experienced colorism, or perhaps you're experiencing colorism yourself. Now, colorism is discrimination usually within an ethnic group where one's value is based on the shade of his or her skin, so the whole light skin versus dark skin thing. And when we think of discrimination, we think of something that one race does to another race, right? Well, no, colorism, this is something that we are doing to each other, and it's very prevalent in the black community, and we gotta stop doing it to each other. We gotta stop putting each other down because of our skin color. Now, I've been doing work on colorism for a few years now, about 3 years. I wrote a book called Light Skin, Dark Skin, and In Between. I have an amateur documentary of the same name. I've done work, I've spoken around the country, and I had the blessed with the opportunity of being on Black in America with Soledad O'Brien on CNN back in November of 2012. And, like I said, colorism is just prevalent in the black community, and we're not talking about it enough, and we need to address it. Did you know that dark-skinned male defendants are twice as likely to go to prison than light-skinned male defendants? That's colorism. A Villanova study found that light-skinned women in North Carolina were, overwhelmingly sentenced less prison sentences than dark-skinned women. That's colorism. And studies also show that light-skinned women are 15% more likely to get married than dark-skinned women. That's colorism. And today, I'm not going to talk your head off. I'm going to show y'all my amateur documentary called Light Skin, Dark Skin, or In Between. It pretty much shows different viewpoints on colorism from men, women, and children of all ages. Light people, dark people, brown-skinned people. Because like I said, we got to talk about this issue. We've got to hash this one out because it's just growing uglier and uglier. So I'd like you guys to sit back and relax and enjoy my documentary. Thank you.
You've seen the way they've done your boy, and your boy's still down.
Can't come around.
So you prefer a lighter skin compared to a darker skin?
Yeah, but that's not. Yes, but that's not saying I have something against dark skin people, because I don't.
That's a hard question. As far as the reasoning behind it, I really don't know. Maybe it really is because in their eyes, the lighter the skin tone, the more attractive they are. Maybe they're just seen as more handsome or more beautiful. I've never really asked people, or even my own family, like, okay, why is it that that's just not attractive for you? So it's not their fault. That's the way they were born.
Yeah, you get called different names. They would call you hot yellow, red, and I didn't like those names. Mm-hmm. No, you were called different names. Yeah.
Within my own family, with people in the Indian community, showing prejudice against other people, mainly because they were too dark-skinned. There have been people who have tried to get married, guys, and women have said, "Oh, he's too dark-skinned," or her parents have said, "He's too dark-skinned. You don't want to marry him," and vice versa. For women, there have been really dark-skinned women, and there are guys that don't want to marry them, or their parents don't want them to marry them because they're dark-skinned. and in their eyes it's seen as unattractive.
Because dark-skinned people, they feel that light-skinned people think that they are better than they are, but I don't. I mean, I don't want to be judged by the color of my skin, by white people nor black people. Don't look at my skin. Look at my character, my intelligence. Don't look at my skin.
Joseph Obi, and I'm a professor of sociology here at the University of Richmond. Historians and some sociologists too. They argue that there was a system of preferential treatment during slavery. Yes, a time when light-complected blacks tended to receive more benefits, if you will, advantages.
I'm from Philippines.
What do they call dark-skinned people in the Philippines?
Well, they live in a mountain. They don't want to come out the city.
Yeah, my name is Marcelin Ali. I'm originally from the Ivory Coast in West Africa. Color in Africa and in the Ivory Coast in particular has never been an issue.
There is some historical evidence that lighter-skinned blacks were subjectively aware of their advantages and made marriage preferences in ways that would secure and maintain these advantages, a process that's since come to be referred to as complexion homogamy, like marrying like in terms of complexion.
I look in the mirror, and then I look at my roommate, who's not white, and then I look side by side, and I'm like, oh, he's lighter than I am.
But the word itself, colorism, many people point to a 1982 article by Alice Walker, the writer, her first using a term like that, I guess adapting racism or any otherism, based on color. She had written an article back in the early 80s and used the term, and it's stuck since then.
The way I see it, I think the skin color, I prefer, I'd say maybe those who are like maybe a little lighter than me, either that or somewhere close to the color of my skin, which I would describe as a caramel latte, but still, if they got the same skin color as me, or if the girl is lighter, then I'll probably go around there.
So you wouldn't prefer someone that's out of that? Like you wouldn't prefer someone that's...
I would prefer them, but me, I'm like slightly leaning towards the lighter ones a little bit. That's not saying that I don't care. That's not saying that I don't like girls who are dark and everything. I mean, I have plenty of girl friends who are dark and everything, but me, I'm like leaning slightly, like I'm repeating over, I'm leaning slightly towards the light skin.
Why do you feel that you lean toward light-skinned girls?
I feel like I'm the president being interviewed right now. Holy crap. Why do I lean towards light skin?
I know a good friend of mine, he left now, he had a child with a lady from Florida. Mm-hmm. She is very light skinned, and that lady being cast out from her family completely, and bore her from the family because she went with somebody who's darker.
So I think we can, think of a slavery era as the matrix, in which these impulses, began to show themselves.
Yeah. Even in the church, black people separate themselves. In my little hometown, a little country church, it was a mess. It was a mess. And how the girls used to look at you and wouldn't have anything to do with you, even in the church. The dark-skinned girls. and sit there and make eyes and things at you. Funny gestures. It's terrible.
This might not seem relevant, but I think I prefer light is because I like light colors compared to dark colors, you know? I mean, if I were to have a car, I prefer one, probably not dark red, but maybe, you know, a little light red, a little bit. Maybe that answers the question, I don't know, but, I think that's the reason why, even though it's like not relevant, I think that's why I like light-skinned girls.
When you talk about, you think about boys, is there a particular kind of boy that you like as far as light skin, curly hair? That's the kind of guy you like? Why? Why does that? I don't know if I like it. So you want like dark skin guys? Why do you want dark skin? I don't like it or anything. I just don't like. It just don't look like one dark person. It don't look like two dark people together to me. So if there was a really nice boy that came along that was dark skinned, I would have said no thanks.
You want my honest answer, right? I'll be completely honest. And there have been situations with girls, and in my mind, I've thought, oh, she's really dark, and I've been slightly less attracted because of that. And it's not something I'm proud of, but as when I think about, you know, the reasoning behind it, I really don't know why. Maybe because it's just the culture I've grown up in, and you just see lighter as more attractive, maybe. Then again, I'm not very light to begin with, and that's the irony of the situation.
Middle school kids are really mean. They'll pick on you for anything, and I got called darky. Like, I wouldn't be picked sometimes in games.
Clark doll tests. Yes. Those were interesting tests.
Which doll do you think is good? You think that one's the good doll? Okay. Now, which doll do you think is the bad doll? That one's bad. Now, which doll do you think looks most like you? So, which doll do you think is the pretty doll?
This one.
That's the pretty doll?
Yeah.
Okay. Now tell me which doll is the ugly doll?
This one.
Okay. Which doll do you think looks like you?
Like me?
Mm-hmm.
This one more than that one.
Okay. So why did you say that this one is the pretty doll?
Because she has
That's gonna be so happy. Yeah, after I take a shower later on, we can watch it.
She looks better. She looks better because has like no.
Which doll do you think is good?
I think this
You think that one's good?
yes.
Okay. Why do you think she's good?
Because she is smiling.
But she's smiling too.
Because she don't look scary like her.
She doesn't look what?
Scary.
Why do you think she looks scary?
Because she's like this. But she's like, she just smiling like this.
And how's the other one look?
Her?
Yeah.
She looks mean and bad.
But they're both smiling. She's smiling too. So is she.
I think because her eyes are brown. Hers is
Okay.
and that one looked darker, that one looked lighter.
So which doll do you think is pretty?
That doll.
Which one?
That one.
Which doll do you think is ugly?
That ugly.
Point to it again. Point to it again.
That ugly.
Okay. Which doll do you think is good?
That doll.
Which doll do you think is bad?
That doll.
Okay.
Asking these 6 to 9 year olds, African American children, their opinions about certain dolls. And the tests have been replicated many times since then, in different contexts. And I guess if you were to identify a rationale for the tests, what they were trying to get at, they were trying to explore the psyche of these young kids with respect to, self-concept and their constructs of beauty, And the results have been, fairly consistent over the decades. The children, African American children tended and tend to pick, these white dolls, as being the ones that are nice, as being the ones that are, beautiful. And of course, I think we know the import, the meaning of that,
How do you feel about your daughter saying that blue eyes are better than brown eyes?
Are better than brown eyes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of disturbing because black people generally are not born with blue eyes, so it's kind of.
It's one that's.
We're definitely going to have a talk about that.
While I was filming the documentary, I must say I was perplexed by the idea of good hair, and that, the general consensus is that good hair is thin, straight, long hair, and that thick, kinky, nappy hair, like my hair, is bad hair, and I just totally disagree with that.
Okay, I have a niece that's 12 years old, and because of a bad perm, her hair had begun to break off really, really bad. And so her mother had started doing a lot of research on natural hair, black hair, and the care for black hair. So she decided, instead of continuing to do the perm, she decided that she wanted to cut the hair, to get all the dead perm, to get all the perm out, because her hair was really messed up and had done damage to her scalp. So in the process of getting the hair back to the right platform, she had to cut her hair really, really close. And some of her friends, they really picked at her. about her hair and her going natural. Do you think you're gonna like this? What are you supposed to do about, how you think you look? One girl even told us she was ugly. Ugly because she did cut her hair because she was going natural. And now her hair has grown 5 inches and she looks beautiful. She was beautiful in the beginning, even with the shorter hair, but her hair is really growing back nice. She had a lot of criticism from her little girlfriends.
In Africa, people were born with their nappy hair, and to style it, they always braid their hair.
Like I said, I have the thick, nappy, kinky hair, and I must say I really love it because it's so versatile. I can wear dreads if I want to, I could wear braids, I could wear a weave, I could wear a wig, I could wear afro, I could wear twists, I could relax it, I could color it, I could curl it, I can do anything I want to my hair.
With the influence of our culture, younger generation have a tendency of, relaxing their hair, styling their hair and so forth and so on. But it never phased out completely. Everybody, not everybody, but all girls, when they're growing up in Africa, they know how to braid hair. They braid each other hair, you go within the family. They change the style and a lot because of the influence of the Western culture.
A lot of other types of hair, you can't do all those things. And I'm just so appreciative that I have hair that can sustain, different hairstyles. And because of that, I think it's beautiful. I think it's great. I like my nappy hair.
Smooth cool hair like that. Smooth, so like smooth hair. Is it curly like this or is it straight? Like straight curl. So, do you think that hair like this, like thick, kind of nappy hair, you don't think it's good?
No.
Why isn't it good?
I mean, it's so natural, but you try to go somewhere like go to a party, you're gonna look nice.
So you think my hairstyle right now is nice and neat? So if I was saying I was going to a nice party tonight, I shouldn't go with my hair like that.
And in all reality, all hair is good hair. Shouldn't be one type of hair that's good. But I just definitely disagree with the notion that only thin, straight hair is good hair.
I think it's definitely something that could be overcome in the big picture. In my generation specifically, if we raise our children without any bias, if we raise our children telling them that this skin tone is the exact same as the other as far as how we treat them, how we look at them, then that's something that could be overcome pretty easily. I think even the slightest hint that you're going to treat someone else differently based on the color of their skin, that could have a big impact. Because when I think about my own life, my parents didn't go around saying, or my family didn't go around saying like, oh, this person is not very attractive, like because of this color of the skin constantly. It's literally something that's been said once or twice, but I feel like it's had that much of an impact.
Let's remember, as far back as 1929, during the era of Harlem Renaissance, we had seen books from people like Wallace Thurston, the Blacker the Berry. And that novel actually was about colorism, about discrimination on the basis of skin tone and complexion.
I think it would be solved if kids are taught at early age.
It's really a state of mind, and so it doesn't matter whether you're as dark as James Brown or as light as Adam Clayton Powell.
If the family fabric gets strong in the black community in the United States, instead of just copying completely what other culture or other society, have a tendency to make you accept it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't give up at all of your calling. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that you can just, wipe with other side of your hand. But you have to persevere. You are not going to change the whole society in one night. But in your inner circle, if you start with the inner circle, you ask somebody to take their responsibility, and that person, if that he or she comprehended, she can make an impact on other people, and so on and so forth. That's how, I think that you should perceive. And I think it's a good thing that you're doing, and you shouldn't give up. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to change the whole world in one night, but you shouldn't give up. You shouldn't give up. It's a calling, for the conscience awakening.
We talk about situations of people of color, and because you are that color, you endure obstacles and opposition.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that piece. I hope it was some food for thought for you. I hope it made you think. I hope it makes you continue this conversation on colorism, and I hope it makes you address how we treat each other, how we look at one another, how we're uplifting or how we're lacking uplifting one another, and things like that. As I said earlier, colorism, these type of things we tend to sweep under the rug. We need to stop doing that because we're carrying hurt, we're carrying ill feelings about each other and about ourselves, and this is breeding self-hatred, y'all. This is breeding major self-hatred, and if we don't hash this out, the problem's just going to get bigger and bigger. And I just hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I hope it made you think. Thank you for tuning into the Kiara Lee Show again, and tune in next week for some more. Thank you.
Southside,
Kiara,
Easton,
Kiara,
Weston,
Kiara,
all my H-Town,
Kiara,
Seafield,
Kiara,
804,
Kiara,
we them real
Kiara.
niggas, yeah. 2 up, 2 down, Rich Town. 2 up, 2 down, Rich Town. 2 up, 2 down, Rich Town.
It's the